Hey everyone, welcome to part 2 of my in-depth review of the new Dark Angel Codex. As always, my name is Jay. And in this video, I'll be going over a bunch of the special rules, Warlord Traits, Relics, all that stuff I usually go through in the first video, but I didn't have enough time because I had to go through all the formations and detachments in extreme detail. So that's okay. So, as I mentioned, one thing I forgot to mention in the last one, Azrael got moved to Lord of War, but that really doesn't affect too much because he's a detachment anyway, right? He's his own little, he's his own little formation that you just bring him instead. So he's a Lord of War now. Cool. And a couple guys from HQs got moved to Elites in a consistent fashion with the Space Marine Codex. Makes sense. So let's go over the special rules. So the Dark Angel special rules. There's not that many of them. First of all, they have combat squads. Of course, they're Space Marines. They have the ability to take combat squads. Makes sense. I don't believe they have Nation No Fear. So that's an interesting one. Let me double check. I don't think they or maybe they do have a Nation No Fear. Let me see. Because that would be interesting if they don't. I think they do, though. Yeah, they do. Right, they have a Nation No Fear, of course. So the first thing, they have combat squads, and for those who don't know what combat squad is, it is if they take a squad size of 10 or more, they can break them up into 2 squads. So you take a 10-man tactical squad, you can break up into 2 5-man tactical squads, and so forth. Pretty straightforward stuff. The next one is called Deathwing. So there's now a Deathwing special rule. Now what Deathwing does is, it gives a model fearless and hatred of Chaos Space Marines. So that's cool. They used to, I think, preferred enemy against Space Marines, maybe? I don't remember. They have hatred now. So this is the equivalent to the old Inner Circle special rule, which gave fearless and I think it was hatred as well to the Deathwing. So it's called just Deathwing. Makes sense? Grim Resolve. Now, Grim Resolve is pretty much everyone else. Everyone has Grim Resolve. It's kind of their chapter tactic. Models of the special rule have the Stubborn special rule. So it makes, because they used to just have Stubborn, was their Dark Angels used to have Stubborn by themselves, right? And unless jinking, count their ballistic skill as 2 when firing Overwatch. So if you're taking them in a standard combined arms detachment, they Overwatch at ballistic skill 2. If you take them as part of the the Lion Strike Force, you get to Overwatch at full ballistic skill. So cool stuff there. Raven Wing. This is the best special rule in the Codex. It basically means a model special rule can reroll their jink saves. So their jink recovery saves when it jinks. So that means that Raven Wing without Skilled Rider have a 4-up rerollable, and with Skilled Rider have a 3-up rerollable. This makes them more survivable in every way than White Scars. Other than the fact that most of the Raven Wing don't have Skilled Rider, so they all will have to take a danger check, dangerous terrain check when moving over obstacles. But being shot and you jink, a 4-up rerollable is better statistically than a 3-up non-rerollable, right? Because a 3-up non-rerollable is 2/3 of the time, and a 4-up rerollable is 75%. So good stuff there. Ravenwing, survivable. And of course they have Warlord Traits. Let's go over the Warlord Traits. In my opinion, these Warlord Traits really aren't that good. If you're going to take a, other than maybe one of them, if you're going to be playing like Maelstrom of War, take a Maelstrom of War tactical Warlord Trait. And also, the ones that they matched up with the characters doesn't seem to make sense in my mind. It really doesn't. No, I don't see why. I'll be going over the Warlords in the next video. Not the Warlords, the HQs. But the Warlord traits that they matched up with them just don't make sense to me. That's okay. So the first one is the Hunt. Now, a lot of them have the same names, different rules. So the Hunt is the first one. Your Warlord has precision shots and ignores cover on his shooting. Cool stuff. Of course, most of the Warlords don't have that good of guns. So, the next one is called Courage of the First Legion. Your Warlord and all friendly units with the Dark Angels faction within 12 inches of them have Fearless. Cool. So if you're running a large percentage of non-Terminators, good thing. Then they're all Fearless running around. That's good. Number 3 is for the Lion. Your Warlord and his unit have Furious Charge. Cool. Not really that amazing, like +1 strength. It can help, But with Space Marines, most of the time your Warlord isn't going to be assaulting in with the squad. Depending on what you're running. Tactical Marines don't usually, they could assault in if they want, but most of the time they'll be shooting. Especially if they overwatch a full ballistic skill. You're going to be playing a lot of defensiveness. I think that the special rules of this codex are really defensive and not very offensive. So, I don't know. Up to you. Brilliant planning. While your Warlord is alive and on the battlefield, you can add 1 or subtract 1 to any reserve roll. That's important. Now this one I think is important. Brilliant planning. It's number 4. And the reason why I think it's important is if you do run those Deathwing and you want to get them in for sure on turn 2, well, I guess if you just take the normal formation, they do. But if if you take the normal formation, but the Deathwing detachment, a 2-up coming in turn 2 is very important. You want to get them on the table. You want to get them on as soon as possible. Makes sense. Rapid maneuver, number 5. Your Warlord and his unit add 3 inches to their maximum move distance when they move flat out, turbo boost, run, or make charge distances. It can help if you want to be assaulty. And 6, hold at all costs. Your Warlord and his unit have feel no pain while they're within 3 inches of an objective marker. That one's cool, especially if you're playing Maelstrom of War. You stick your Warlord in a squad around the objectives and they all feel no pain. It can really help. Those are the Warlord traits. As I said, nothing too special. Some of them are okay. Up to you if you want to take them. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say. What else is new? The relics. Let's go over the relics now. The relics, interesting as well. Some of them are good. Foe Smiter is the first relic. It's a 24-inch range, strength 4, AP 4, assault 4, mastercrafted, shred. Cool. So it's an assault weapon. Lion's Roar. 24-inch range, strength 7, AP 2, so it's a plasma. Assault 1, blast, gets hot, mastercrafted, 1 use only. So it's a mastercrafted combi weapon. Cool. So it's equivalent to, I guess what, I guess it's equivalent to what Azrael had. Next one, Mace of Redemption. It's a mace. So it's strength plus 3, AP 3, melee, Bane of the Traitor, blind, concussive. And Bane of the Traitor means when attack is used against a Chaos Space Marine, the AP is increased to 1. So if you're familiar playing against Chaos Space Marines, the Mace of Redemption is for you. Also has blind. Yeah, blind and concussive. Cool. Monster Slayer of Caliban. This one's kind of cool. This is the one I actually want to try out. Unlike Azrael. Kind of fun. At the start of each fight subphase, in which the wielder is locked in combat. So your Warlord, whoever has this has to be in combat. Roll a d6 to determine the profile of the Monster Slayer of Caliban. Uses that term. If you roll a 1, it's strength user, AP 3, melee. So no, it doesn't hurt at all. 2 to 4, strength plus 1, AP 3, melee. If you roll a 5 or 6, it's a strength plus 2, AP 3, melee, instant death. Cool. So against Tyranids, hilarious. Against Orcs, hilarious. Just great stuff. The Eye of the Unseen is a relic. The Bearer of the Eye of the Unseen has fear and pervert enemy special rule. Cool. And finally, the Shroud of Heroes. The Shroud of Heroes. The Bearer of the Shroud of Heroes has feel no pain special rule. In addition, while he is not in a unit, the Bearer has the Shrouded special rule. That's good if you have you want to give it to someone who has, likes to be solo, like Azrael, not Azrael, even Azrael. I would say Samuel, pretty cool, because he just flies around, has Shrouded. I guess he already, no, he'd have Shrouded. That'd be pretty cool. When he jinx, he has a 2-up jink. Reroll. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Up next, we should go over the Psychic Powers. Now, as I mentioned, Dark Angels have their own Psychic Powers in this codex, which is pretty cool. I still feel that the Psychers are going to be inferior to the Space Marine, because the Space Marines have that really cool formation for Librarians that isn't in this codex, but it's okay. We'll talk about it in this codex in its entirety. So the Primaris power is Mindworm, which is going to be a good inclination that Ezekiel doesn't have Mindworm anymore. It's now just the Primaris power of the Dark Angels Psychic Powers, that they're called Interomancy Discipline. Interomancy. Cool stuff. Looks like I gotta buy some cards. The Primaris power is Mindworm, which is a Warp Charge 1, and it is a Focus Witchfire, 12-inch range, Strength 6, AP 2, Assault 1, Ignores Cover, Sap Will. If a model suffers any unsaved wounds from Mindworm, its weapon skill, ballistic skill, initiative, and leadership characteristics are reduced by 3 to a minimum of 1 for the rest of the game. So this is good against multiple wound models. You know, like a Demon Prince would be hilarious with this, because you hit a Demon Prince, and then if you are able to knock off a wound, it goes down, you know, 3 weapon skill, 3 ballistic skill, 3 initiative, and leadership. That's good. The first one is Warp Charge 1, Seed of Fear. It is a malediction that targets all enemy units within 9 inches. While this power is in effect, the target unit must take morale checks, as well as pinning and fear tests on 3d6. Doesn't say it has to do it then, just as it does have to. So I guess in the future, if you kill some in the future. This will be awesome against Tau, Orcs, yeah. A 2 is Righteous Repugnance, Warp Charge 1. It is a blessing that targets a single friendly unit within 24 inches while the power is in effect. The target unit has Rage. Number 3 is Aversion, Warp Charge 1. It's a malediction that targets a single enemy unit within 24 inches. While the power is in effect, the target unit can only fire snap fires. That's awesome. So against squads that have flamers, that'd be amazing. If you go up against a squad of like Wraith Knights, not Wraith Knights, Wraith Guard with the flamer, the heavy D size, right? It'd be amazing. Hit them with this psychic power. They can only fire snap fire. Can't use their flamer templates anymore. Pretty sweet stuff. Number 4, Maelstrom of Misery. It's a Warp Charge 2. And Warp Charge 2. And it's a 24-inch range. It's a Witchfire. 24-inch range, Strength 1, AP 2. Strength 1, so you know it's going to be poisoned. Assault 1, Blast, Neural Shock, which it just always wounds on a 4-up. The special rule has no effects on vehicles or buildings, and it's a blast. Cool. So against Wraiths, high toughness stuff. Number 5 is Trephination. It is a Warp Charge 2. It's a focused Witchfire, 18-inch range. The affected model must roll 2d6 plus 2. It's the leadership one, right? Subtract their leadership, the model suffers a number of wounds equal to the result. Armor and cover saves cannot be taken against wounds. So against Orcs, that'll be awesome. Tau. And then finally, Mind Wipe. This is a Warp Charge 3. I don't think it should be a Warp Charge 3. I think it should be a Warp Charge 2, personally. I think 3 is a little expensive. But it's a malediction. 24-inch range. All models in the target unit have their weapon skill and ballistic skill reduced to 1 until the end of the turn. Again, that's powerful, but I don't know if it's a Warp Charge 3 level powerful. It is cool, though. I'll finish it up. At the end... until the end of their next turn. Their next turn. Okay. Yeah. At which point, the unit must take a leadership test. So I guess if you combine it with the other one. If the leadership test has failed, the effects of Mind Wipe last for the rest of the game. Cool. So you got to choose what you want to do with Mind Wipe, because if you Mind Wipe something you're about to assault, the odds are they're going to be dead probably by the time it goes around. Or you may want to use it on a squad that you really don't want to assault in the meantime. Like again, a squad of Wraith Knights, Wraith Blades, Wraith Guard. Knock them down to weapon skill, ballistic skill 1, and then ignore them for a minute, and then focus on something else. And hopefully they fail that leadership test, and it's for the rest of the game. Otherwise, you recast it on something else. So that's cool stuff. So those are the Warlord traits, the special rules, the relics, the psychic powers. I think that's enough to cover in this video, and in the next video I'll start going over the HQs in good detail. So to sum up what we came up with today, Warlord traits, the new special rules, Raven Wing is awesome. Reroll Jinx, great. Deathwing, it's equivalent to the old Inner Circle. Combat Squad is, any Space Marines. The Warlord traits are okay. The Relics, I really like the one where you roll to see what happens with the weapon. And the Psychic Powers are pretty cool too. So that covers these areas. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment in the comment section down below of what you thought. Do you agree with anything? Do you have anything else to add to the conversation? And stay tuned for the next part where I'll be going over the HQs in great detail. So thank you very much for watching this episode. Until next time, this is Jay saying.